Hello, I'm Cedric Woods, Director, Institute for New England Native American Studies. We are here today in Boston's North End at the Christopher Columbus Waterfront Park. Directly behind me is the base of what used to host the statue of Christopher Columbus. It was installed here in 1979 as a recognition of the growing political power of the Italian American community in the North End and across Boston. And the Columbus Day holiday was established as a federal holiday in the 1930s. When we look at the history of Columbus Day and the installation of Columbus Day statues, we have to place it in the context of marginalized immigrants from Southern Europe in particular, Italy and other Southern European nations, who were being actively discriminated against here in the United States. The establishment of Columbus Day was pushed as a way to encourage civic pride among these communities and have a quote-unquote American hero and tie them to the American story. The facts of the matter undercut the selection of Columbus as to the icon that should be celebrated to celebrate and lift up Italian American presence and history. First and foremost, Christopher Columbus landed on the island of Hispaniola in the Caribbean in Taino Arawak territory. He never set foot on what is known as the continental United States, and absolutely not in the city of Boston. He was indeed from one of the city-states in Italy. There was no nation-state of Italy at that point in time, but he was sailing for the crown of Spain, specifically to enrich their holdings and land, and he also originates the slave trade of indigenous peoples in all three voyages, enslaving and taking indigenous peoples back to Europe, where they disappear, as many millions of enslaved peoples do, at the various auction blocks across Europe. Therefore, from an indigenous perspective, he is not a person to be celebrated. The statue here was erected in 1979. It was vandalized at least 5 times since 2004, the last being a decapitation in 2020, and this led and forced a conversation about the appropriateness of this statue in a public space in an area controlled by the city. It has also led to the recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day celebration in the city of Boston.